Shana Tova Tikatehu, Leshana Tova Tikatehu, the good year, the sweet year, we wish to you. Leshana Tova Tikatehu, Leshana Tova Tikatehu, a good year, a sweet year, we wish to you.
Shana Tova. On behalf of cantorial soloist David Rothberg, it is my pleasure to welcome everyone to our services this evening. Whether you are here in the sanctuary at TCS or whether you are greeting the new year somewhere else and joining us remotely, we are so glad to be here together. As we just sang, we pray that this new year that starts tonight will be a good year, a sweet year. In order for that hope to come true, we must use these holy days to reflect and to envision. We are urged to ponder the year that is past and to plan for the year that is yet to come. Our hopes and our fears, our dreams and our frustrations, our joys and our sorrows, our goals and our challenges all surface on these most precious days. Through our prayers and our poems, songs and silence, meditations and music, we will embark on this journey together. Just two brief notes before we begin. For those of you joining us online, in the same email that provided the link to connect to these services, there was also a link to an online version of the prayer book that we'll be using tonight. So if you would like to have the words available, you can click on that link to get those texts. And for those of you here in the sanctuary, as glad as we are to be here together after needing to be apart last year, we do still need to take precautions to keep us all safe. So as a reminder, please keep your mouths over your nose as well as your mouth. And when we sing, please sing enthusiastically in your heart, but softly and gently with your voice. It's more important for the words and melody to get into our souls than for them to come out of our mouths. So now we are ready to begin. We'll continue on page 3 of the Machzor. To everything there is a season, and an appointed time for every purpose under heaven.
Now is the time for turning.
The leaves are beginning to turn from green to red and orange.
The birds are beginning to turn, and are heading once more toward the south.
The animals are beginning to turn to storing their food for the winter.
For leaves, birds, and animals, turning comes instinctively, but for us, turning does not come so simply.
It takes an act of will for us to make a turn. It means breaking with
out
old habits.
It means admitting that we have been wrong, and this is never easy.
It means losing face. It means starting all over again, and this is always painful.
It means saying, I am sorry. It means admitting that we have the ability to change, and this is always embarrassing. These things are terribly hard to do, but unless we turn, we will be trapped forever in yesterday's ways. God, help us turn.
From callousness to sensitivity, from hostility to love,
From pettiness to purpose, from envy to contentment.
from carelessness to discipline, from fear to faith.
Turn us around, Adonai, and bring us back toward you. Revive our lives as at the beginning.
And turn us toward each other, O God, for in isolation there is no life. We are ready now to light the Holy Day candles on page 6 of the Machzor. It's my pleasure to call on Alicia Dancy, the chair of our reopening task force, to lead us.
Whichever you like. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel yom tov. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh.
Page 5.
The night is dark that cloaks this year we have begun tonight. Yet the heavens have revealed their new moon to us, a tiny sliver in the Tishrei sky that announces more triumphantly than the noon's bright sun that a new year has come. A new time has dawned. A new chance has opened to us to help create the world for which we yearn.
But that slim moon cannot dispel the darkness. What kind of world awaits us? Shall we find the strength for its demands? How many uncertainties shroud our steps into the future?
The beacon through the night lies not alone in heaven. We must encourage the new year's fragile light with this torch we light on earth. These candle flames we trim tonight remind us that we need not merely wait for time to reveal her will, but we ourselves can help bring forth from the darkness the world we want, the kind of life we wish to live beneath the many new moons of this new year.
This year can be a partnership of the light we find and the light we make. Let us revel in the darkness, that we may gaze upon the lights we find in heaven with awe, with wonder, with joy at all that has been created for each one of us. But when the lights of heaven are obscured or powerless before the darkness that confounds our life, then let us remember all the candles that are ours to kindle, all the bright flames we have it in our power to trim, so we can burn away the clouds from heaven's light and bring that light, and with it truth and caring and hope, to earth once more. Thank you. We turn back in our pamphlets to the front page again, numbers 2 and 3, Am I Awake? And Baruch Hu.
Yadidai-dai-dai, 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 yadidai-dai-dai.
Please rise.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Yadidai-dai-dai, 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 yadidai-dai-dai.
Can be seated. And we continue on page 15 of the Matzor. Alone, I marvel at the evening sky, gold caressing blue, blue caressing dark. Here in prayer, I need to see your hand behind the sky, your creative words once more forming light in darkness. I need to see the care with which you carved the moon, the stars, which make of fearful darkness nurturing night. The mixture that brings evening forth from day, morning from night, has been shaped like Adam from the earth by you. You who mixes in the evening, you are praised.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, b'shovenu u'kuvenu, nasiya b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei בהם מדי יומם ולילה, באהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל.
This blessing that we just sang thanks God for giving us the Torah and for enabling us to learn the lessons that it teaches us about how to live our lives in good and godly ways. But there are lots of different kinds of learners. Some people learn best by hearing, some people learn best by seeing, some people learn best by doing. And so as we move now into Shema, which is on page 18 of the Siddur, we don't just say the words, we also have some hand motions to help us act the words, to do the words, to learn them in a different way, to remind us of what they mean. So, the word Shema, which means to hear or to pay attention, to really get it, we go like this to help us focus on the meaning of the words. The next word, Yisrael, which means Israel, we make the letter I with our fingers for Israel, for the Jewish people, and then, since the Torah is what sustains us, we open the book, open the scroll in front of us. Okay. Adonai, God protects us like a shield, so we make a shield in front of us. Adonai. Eloheinu, God is all around us. And then Adonai again, a shield. And then Echad, which means one, but not just one. Everything is united in God, and so we make the infinity symbol with our fingers, looping our fingers in circles around each other. Okay. So let's, as we sing together, let's make the motions as well.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha B'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha Uvlechtecha v'derech, uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha, uv'kshartam le'ot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot bein einecha, uv'tavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uv'isharecha.
Page 23, 5 lines from the bottom.
Leman tizkeru V'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kadoshim le'Elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiot lachem le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet.
We turn to page 29 to celebrate our freedom, our liberation with Mi Chamocha, and just as there are many types of learners, there are also many types of celebration. It is okay just to sing, but if you feel like dancing some in your place, that is a good way to express your joy as well. Page 29.
Ya pa pa pipima, ya pa pa pimpa, ya pa pa pipima, ya pa pa ba bim bam. I die 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 die. Yappa ba ba bim bam. I die 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 die. Yappa ba ba bim bam. Mihi kamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mihi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Norah tehilot ozeh peleh. Norah tehilot ozeh peleh. Yappa ba bim bam. Yappa ba ba bim bam. Yappa ba bim bam. Yappa ba ba bim bam. I die 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 die. Yappa ba ba bim bam. I die die die. Yappa ba ba bim bam. Malchutecha ra'uvanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe ze'emi anu ve'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam amen. Yappa ba bim bam. Yappa ba ba bim bam. Yappa ba bim bam. Yappa ba ba bim bam. I die die. Yappa ba ba bim bam. I die die. Yappa ba ba bim bam.
Page 31. Give us a place to rest, Adonai, our God, and peace. Help us, O Majesty, to stand up to life. Spread over us your peace-filled sukkah, that through your good counsel we might be repaired. Liberate us from the place we are, that we might effect your name. Shield us from enmity, from slaughter, from hunger of the body and the soul, from unexpected sorrow, from those who would accuse us of being merely human. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth, for with you is protection and safekeeping, and in your presence is royal acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return a peaceful welcome, life, a future, and now. Spread over us your peace-filled sukkah, and over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Go with us. As we prepare for the Amidah, the central prayer section of our service, we turn to page 35. Listening comes hard to us. We can sing and read and look, taste and smell and touch, but listening comes hard to us. Other people's joy and tragedy enter our minds, but listening to the person behind the joy, letting in the person underneath the tragedy, that takes hard concentration and a strong will. But the new year is to be listened for. The world looks the same. The people all around us look the same. But underneath the ordinary day that is today is a special quiet which we cannot see. We have to listen for it. God is like that too. God is a word, Adonai, eternal, Savior, monarch, and all the rest. They are all words. The reality lies beneath the words, in no word, in a soundless name which is being, existence, life, that special electric quality which makes the same looking world, the same looking people, extraordinary souls. The reality behind the names of God is to be listened for. It's hard, it's there.
Every Jewish holiday, every Jewish time has its own melodies. You probably noticed that the High Holy Days has its own set of melodies. This is true both in terms of songs that we sing, like a song like Shofar Blast that we'll sing later, and also prayers. And even prayers that have the same words that we might say on Shabbat might have a different melody on the high holy days. This is called nusach. That means melodies that are associated with a particular time. Maybe it's Shabbat morning, maybe it's Saturday morning, maybe it's Friday night on Shabbat have a different melody for something. Or the high holy days might have a different melody from Passover. That is what nusach does. It takes the same words and gives it special significance and meaning and feeling that's associated with the particular holy day. So the biggest example of nusach, special melody for the high holy days, is the melody that we started with. Ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da. When I hear that, I just immediately, it brings me back to, oh, it's Rosh Hashanah, it's Yom Kippur, it is this special time of year of these days of awe. There are other examples of nusach for high holy days and other things. And we didn't use most of those melodies. We're not using most of those melodies tonight because we didn't want to have too much that's unfamiliar in this particular service. And in the past, we have done the Amidah, Avot, and Gevurot with a mixture of high holy day melody, nusach, and what we're used to. This year, we're going to do Avot and Gevurot in the high holy day nusach, so I expect it will sound different to you. And I think it's worth the effort of just soaking it in and getting used to it, because it really adds to the seriousness and majesty of these days. We turn now to the Amidah on page 37.
And just a reminder as well that the words that are in the Machzor are different from the words that we may be used to in Sim Shalom, Siddur Sim Shalom. There are some differences in some of the prayers. Also, there are some special insertions for the high holy days. So please pay attention to the words as well. Please rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor ve'Hanora Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Vekonei HaKol Vezocher Chasdei Avot Ve'imahot Umevi Goel Livnei V'neihem L'ma'an Shmo B'Yahava Zochreinu L'chaim Melech Hafetz B'chaim V'chotveinu B'sefer HaChaim L'ma'ancha Elohim Chaim Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch Ata Adonai, Magen Abraham v'Ezrat Sarah. Ata Gibor, Leolam Adonai, Mechayei Metim Ata Rav Lehoshia, Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayei Metim B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Hafar, Michamocha B'Gevurot, Umido Melech, Melech Meimit Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Michamocha Avarachamim, Zocher Yetzurav L'chaim Berachamim, V'ne'eman Ata L'chayot Metim, Baruch Ata Adonai Mechayei HaMetim. Ata Kadosh v'Shimcha Kadosh, Ukadoshim b'chol yom Yehalalucha Selah. Baruch Ata Adonai HaMelech HaKadosh.
We take a few moments now for our own personal, private prayers. If you wish to continue with the liturgy of the Matzor, it goes through page 58, or you can find your own prayers inside yourself, in your own heart and your own soul. When you've had as much time as you'd like, you may be seated.
According to Jewish tradition, God has a very special book called the Book of Life. And on Rosh Hashanah, God writes for each person what the coming year will hold. And on Yom Kippur, God seals the book. And we have three ways to influence God. to convince God to write us in for a better year. The first is called teshuvah, which means working to become a better person, doing fewer bad things and more good things. Let's learn that word. It's such an important word. Repeat after me. Teshuvah.
Teshuvah.
The second is called tefillah. That's what we're doing now. It's prayer. Let's learn to say that word in Hebrew. Repeat after me. Tefillah.
Tefillah.
The third way is a word you probably already know. Tzedakah. Let's say that word. Tzedakah.
Tzedakah.
We think of that as charity. It really is from the root meaning justice, because in Jewish tradition, helping the poor, helping those who need our help, is not a matter of what feels good in our heart. It's a matter of doing justice. So repeat that word after me again. Tzedakah.
Tzedakah.
So we've got those three ways. Let's say them. Teshuvah,
Teshuvah.
tefillah,
Tefillah.
tzedakah.
Tzedakah.
Excellent. Now we're going to put an u in front of each word, because that's how you make a list in Hebrew. It's how you say and. So we've got u teshuvah,
U teshuvah.
u tefillah,
U tefillah.
u tzedakah.
U tzedakah.
And we're going to make a song out of the saying, the line in our liturgy that starts with those three words, saying that those help us pass through any severe judgment that God might make. But we're going to do it with snapping our fingers. Let's try this. U teshuvah, u tefillah, u tzedakah. U teshuvah, u tefillah, u tzedakah. Excellent. So there's some other Hebrew words that, if you know them, and if you can read them on the sheet, you can sing them with me. Let's try those. U teshuvah, u tefillah, u tzedakah. Ma'avirin et roa hagazera. U teshuvah, u tefillah, u tzedakah. Ma'avirin et roa hagazera. Now there's some other things we could do with our hands other than snapping our fingers for the rest of this musical version. So when it says, "Well, I won't do that again," that's teshuvah. So we're going to wag our finger like don't do something wrong. Well, I won't do that again, that's teshuvah. And when we talk about tefillah, and I'll pray for lots of strength at tefillah, let's make our hands into a sidur, and I'll pray for lots of strength, that's tefillah. And when we sing the line about tzedakah, let's go for our pocket to get out some money to give to a poor person. And I'll give the most I can, that's tzedakah. And best of all, this last line, and you need to stand for this part, so please stand if you're able, because we're going to do a little turning around with our and raising our hands. Lord, let's all see better days. Let's do that again. Lord, let's all see better days. Let's go into the song. U teshuvah, u tefillah, u tzedakah. Ma'avirin et roa hagazera. U teshuvah, u tefillah, u tzedakah. Ma'avirin et roa hagazera. Well, I won't do that again, that's teshuvah. And I'll pray for lots of strength, that's tefillah. And I'll give the most I can, that's tzedakah. Lord, let's all see better day. One more time. U teshuvah, u tefillah, u tzedakah. Ma'avirin et roa hagazera. U teshuvah, u tefillah, u tzedakah. Ma'avirin et roa hagazera. Well, I won't do that again, that's teshuvah. And I'll pray for lots of strength, that's tefillah. And I'll give the most I can, that's tzedakah. Lord, let's all see better days. You may be seated. And now, We have a special Avinu Malkeinu.
Song number 4 in your pamphlets.
Avi, O Holy One, we didn't always do the right thing. Avinu Malkeinu, you are like a loving parent. O Holy One, you are our leader, showing us the right direction. Avinu Malkeinu, let this Rosh ha-Shanah be the start of a good year. O Holy One, please keep all of us safe. Avinu Malkeinu, send healing to all who are sick. O Holy One, write our names in your book for a life of goodness. Avinu Malkeinu, Poneinu Vaneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Poneinu Vaneinu, Ki ein banu ma'asim. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu. O Holy One, please hear our prayer. We're letting you know that we care. We're thinking about all the things that we've done. O Holy One, please hear our prayer. I'll try to be the best that I can be. I'll try with all my might to do what I know is right. Avinu Malkeinu, Poneinu Vaneinu. Malkeinu, Poneinu Vaneinu, Ki ein banu ma'asim. And now it is time for us all to get ready to blow our imaginary shofarot. Even if you have a real one, let's make it imaginary this time. Even if you do have a real one, like Rabbi Ken. Because we're going to sing Shofar Blast, which is on number 5 in the handout. And get your shofarot ready. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. Now the first kind of shofar blast is called tekiyah, and it is one long blast, so we are going to put our hand up in the air for it, like this. Tekiyah, tekiyah. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. Now the second time is called shivarim. It's 3 medium blasts. So take your shofar and we're going to do it like this. Shivarim, shivarim. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. The third kind is called teruah, and it's 9 short little blasts. And so I can't keep them straight unless I count on my fingers. I've got 10 minus 1 fingers here, so it's like this. Teru, like that. Teru, Let's do shivarim. Shivarim, shivarim. Let's do some tikiyahs. Tikiyah, tikiyah. I like to hear the shofar blast. Sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. And so we end up with something called a tikiyah gadolah, which means the great big tikiyah, as long as you can do in one breath. It's not good to cheat on Rosh Hashanah. So get one long big breath ready for this. Tikiyah gadolah, ready? Tikiyah gadolah. The shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. I like to hear the shofar blast. Sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, 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 happy New Year.
So we are almost ready for the real shofar blast, but before we hear it, I want to share something about the shofar that I learned from my friend, Rabbi Stephanie Colin. There are lots of reasons that we blow the shofar on the High Holy Days. Some people say that the shofar is supposed to sound like a person who is sad, who is crying, really sobbing. That last short sound, the trua, like if you've ever cried really hard, you're so short and sobbing like that. That's what it's supposed to sound like. It is supposed to, this explanation goes, it's supposed to make us remember that things are hard right now and help us to face those things. It's supposed to remind us that it's okay to be sad or to be scared or to be angry and to express those emotions. Sometimes we don't do that enough. Sometimes we pretend that we're tough and we put up walls around ourselves and we don't express how we're feeling. But pretending that we're tough is definitely not what Rosh Hashanah is about. Rosh Hashanah, we're supposed to be aware of our mistakes, of those things we want to do better. We're supposed to let all those feelings in and then also let them out. So it's the opposite. We're supposed to remember that sometimes we hurt, and it's okay to admit that and to show it. That is a good thing to do because we're being honest about how we're feeling, what's going on. And once we're honest, then we can do something about that truth. So the shofar does it for us, right? It gives us that sobbing sound to remind us, to model that sometimes crying is the best way to express what we're feeling or to talk with God. So that's one explanation. Another explanation comes from a rabbi named Maimonides who lived about 900 years ago. And he says that the shofar is like an alarm clock. I don't usually like alarm clocks. This one I like. This alarm clock tells us that it's time to wake up because we've been kind of asleep. Not literally asleep most of the time, but not paying attention to everything that's going on in the world today, all of the hard stuff that is out there in the world today. We're not paying enough attention to the fact that there are people who are sick or hungry or poor. We're not paying enough attention to people who are not treated fairly because of their religion or where they come from or the color of their skin or because of who they love. So Maimonides tells us that the shofar is really supposed to teach us to wake up. It's supposed to say, wake up. It's time for us to do teshuvah, to make a change, to fix the mistakes that we've made or the ways that we're ignoring all the bad stuff in the world and the ways that vulnerable people are hurting. So these are two explanations. There are lots of interesting things that you could hear in the shofar sound, and soon Jackson is going to blow it for us. and some really blasted so that we can hear it. We are going to hear the shofar blast, but there's one other really cool thing about a shofar that not a lot of people know. So you might know that a shofar is a horn that comes from an animal. But Rabbi Colin taught me that there is something that makes a shofar different from a regular animal horn. And that is that a shofar has a special button on it. There's a button on your shofar, it's called a do something button. And often when we push that button, when we blow the shofar, it makes us want to do something to make the world a better place. It might make us want to give food to the hungry, or send cards to people who might be lonely, or call a friend and cheer them up, or say that we're sorry for something that we did that hurt somebody, or wear a mask. Anything that we do, everything that we do to protect other people and our planet. So I want to show you the button before we get started. Oh, wait a minute, I'm having a little trouble finding it. Hang on, it's here somewhere. Hang on, I know it's. I'm not actually finding. Hang on, let me look it up. I think I know where I can find where it is. Hang on. Wait, I'm sure it's here somewhere. Hang on. No, I'm not finding it there. Let me try this book and see if. I'm not seeing it here. Hang on. It's got to be here somewhere. All right. Hang on. I think I know what I did wrong. Here it is. It says it right here. It says the button is not on the shofar. The button is in our hearts. And the good thing about it is, it says right here, you can see it right here, it says, it is sound activated. The shofar button, the do something button, is sound activated. When we hear the shofar, it activates the button in our heart that tells us to do something. That's pretty cool. That's actually a lot cooler than if there were a real button on the shofar itself. So when we hear the blast, it's going to turn on that button in our heart that makes us want to do something. So let's think of some things that we could do, something that your do something button could be telling you. What is something that you could do to make this world a better place? That's a real question. What is something that you could do to make this world a better place? Amber, tell me something. All right, clean up the world so there are no animals that die. Maya. I'm going to have to come back here. This is the problem with masks. Go ahead.
To cook dinner once in a while for my mom to get to know.
All right, to cook dinner once in a while, so to help out with the family. How about that? Is that a good way to phrase it? All right, good. What else? What's something else you could do to make the world better? Leora. Okay. To use reusable items. Okay, great. What else? Hannah. Get vaccinated. Okay. Stay healthy. Okay, good. What else? Lanta. To encourage people instead of criticizing them. Excellent. There are lots of different ways, lots of different things that we can do. These are great ideas, and there are lots more. So, in a moment, we are going to hear the shofar, and we shouldn't just listen to it. We should listen to what our do something button is telling us. Okay? So, are you ready to hear it? All right. Remember, it's sound activated, so listen carefully. So, Jackson, I think we're going to need you up here for this part.
As hearing the shofar and blowing the shofar is a mitzvah, we proceed it with some blessings.
Page 197.
And since it is something special that we have not heard in a year, in a real ritual way, even if we practiced, we have a special shehecheyanu for reaching this moment. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lishmoa kol shofar. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kiyemanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. Tikiyah Shivarim Teruah Tikiyah Tikiyah Shivarim Tikiyah Tikiyah Teruah Tikiyah Gedolah Yashar Koach Jackson.
All
That
right,
was
Jackson.
beautiful. That was excellent.
Thank you, Jackson. So did you feel it? So now all we have to do is choose something that your Do Something button was telling you, something over the next 10 days to make a difference. When we leave here tonight, let's talk with our families about how we want to listen to our Do Something button. That helps to make it a sweet new year for us and for the whole world. So we keep our Do Something button in mind as we come to the end of our service. We turn back in our Machzor to page 60. Page 60. We have shared many words together. That we could speak them and hear them spoken means that there is a place in the world for them, that our songs of praise and prayers of hope have not gone empty from our mouths, but remain still in the air, waiting for other words to join them. Too often they are not joined, but lost in hopeless words, rhetoric propounded but not meant, accents without acts. If the hopes that we have shared tonight are not to have been shared in vain, we must not leave our words here in our seats, neatly folded in our books. Our words must leave with us, go streaming out the doors of this new year with us, accompany us as we walk on the road, when we sit in our houses, when we lie down, and when we rise up. They must emblazon the doorposts of our house and seal themselves into our hands and before our eyes, that the world might remember the words it has so long forgotten, and form from them a new song which all might sing in celebration of the world we all desire. Before that hope, before the God who is the substance of that hope, let us bow the head and bend the knee in the holy spaces of our yearning, whom we praise. We rise for Aleinu.
Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, la'tet gedula le'yotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו. וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת. אין עוד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. As we prepare for Kaddish, we pause for a moment of private remembrance. We recall the loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own. If you are remembering someone this evening whose name you would like to say aloud, I invite you to do so now. Zichronam livracha. May the memories of all our dear ones be a blessing. If you're saying Kaddish in someone's memory tonight, I ask you to rise now. In loving support of the mourners, we rise as a congregation. In gratitude to God for the gift of the lives of their loved ones, those who are in mourning and those remembering someone, say Kaddish on page 62. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayeichon u'vyomeichon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach la'alam u'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseg, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudsha b'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, amiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort all of the bereaved. And we say, Amen. You may be seated. So just a couple of brief announcements. Please, as we leave tonight, please leave your books on the seats. That'll help us get the sanctuary ready again for tomorrow morning. On your way out of service tonight, you will have a sweet treat. You'll get a sweet treat to take home from our sisterhood, symbolizing a sweet year. Thank you very much, sisterhood, for providing this for us, for your generous kindness. Tomorrow morning, services begin at 8:30 and 11:30. A reminder that for safety's sake, we are limiting seating. So we ask people to register for when you want to attend. If you have not yet signed up, you can still do so. We hope you understand that if you arrive at the temple and we have already met our limit, we will need to ask you to either join us through Zoom at home or to sign up for the next service if there is still space. We also ask for your patience in the morning when you arrive at the door so that our ushers can check our registration list and confirm your registration. Arriving early for the service will help to ensure that you are in and seated before the service begins. We are offering children's programming tomorrow morning during the early service, the first service at 8:30. We thank our youth group Texi for organizing that programming. Space is limited there as well. So again, arriving early will help to ensure the smoothest experience. Drop-off begins at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. On Wednesday, our service for the second day of Rosh Hashanah begins at 9:30 a.m. And next Sunday at 11 o'clock, or I should say this coming Sunday at 11 o'clock, we will gather for a short and lovely tashlich service. Tashlich is the ritual of symbolically casting our sins away from us into a body of water, reflecting on those things that we have done and want to change about ourselves. So we gather at Shovel Shop Pond at 11 o'clock on Sunday for tashlich. Dogs on leash are also welcome. I can't imagine what they've seen. They are all good boys and girls, but still they can come. But the address of the pond can be found on your tickets. Really want to say a special thank you to Jackson Spivak for activating all of our Do Something buttons so wonderfully this evening. Thank you so much for blowing the shofar for us. Our final song is on the back of the pamphlets. Another version of the Shana Tova.
Shana Tova, a happy new year. Shana Tova, a healthy new year. Shana Tova, a sweet new year for you and you and me. We start at the very beginning and go around all over again, like our ABCs and our 1, 2, 3s from the beginning right to the end. Shana Tova, a happy new year. Shana Tova, a healthy new year. Shana Tova, a sweet new year for you and you and me. We dip our apples in honey, a sweet beginning to a sweet new year. We eat the challah around, we hear the shofar sound. Yes, we hear it loud and clear. Shana Tova, a happy new year. Shana Tova, a healthy new year. Shana Tova, a sweet new year for you and you and me. Teshuvah, we change for the better. Tefillah, we pray for the best. Tzedakah, we help other people in need, and God will take care of the rest. Shana Tova, a happy new year. Shana Tova, a healthy new year. Shana Tova, a sweet new year for you and you and me. For you and you and me. For you and you and me.
We are ready to conclude our service with the special Kiddush for Rosh Hashanah.
You will notice that this Kiddush has some different words and a different melody. So, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'am v'romamanu mikol hashon v'kiddushanu b'mitzvotav ותיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה, מועדים לשמחה, חגים וזמנים לששון. את יום הזיכרון הזה, יום תרועה מקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, מכל העמים, ודברך אמת, וקיים לעד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש ישראל, ויום הזיכרון. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Shana Tova Umetuka, may we all be written for a good and sweet new year. Just one thing, I did ask you to leave your books on your seats, but please take your pamphlets to the foyer. You're welcome to keep them if you'd like, but if you don't want to keep them, please take them to the foyer and return them out there. Shana Tova, everybody.
Shana Tova.